What if the strongest being of the modern era was never Sukuna, never Gojo, but someone the world once underestimated? When the truth about Yuji's existence finally surfaced, that he was alive, immortal, and standing at the absolute peak of power, the entire jujitsu world was forced to confront an uncomfortable question. How terrifying does a perfected Yuji truly become? 68 years of relentless training, two of the greatest curse techniques ever recorded, mastery over reverse curse technique, soul manipulation, black flash beyond human limits. This is no longer the story of a promising sorcerer. This is the rise of something far more dangerous. Because when a boy who once fought with nothing but raw instinct evolves into an unaging, ever-growing weapon of destruction, the balance of the world itself begins to shift. Yuji is no longer chasing legends. He stands among them. And as ancient threats awaken and names like Sukuna, Gojo, and Dabura echo across the battlefield, one reality becomes impossible to ignore. The era of Yuji has already begun. Oh yeah, so we can keep interacting and making the anime storytelling world even more fun together. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments to keep the vibe going. Alright guys, let's jump straight into the discussion. Let's go. Ever since it was revealed that Yuji is not only alive, but also immortal at the absolute peak of his power, and even labeled the strongest of his generation, one massive question immediately surfaced. Just how monstrous is Ethidora Yuji right now? Think about it. 68 years of training, access to two of the most powerful techniques in existence, mastery of reverse curse technique, complete control over black flash, advanced soul manipulation, and countless other abilities that are anything but minor. So the real question becomes, what does Yuji look like at full power today? Especially considering that this version of Yuji is set to appear in JJK Modelo, as mentioned in the previous video. That alone makes the discussion of how strong is Yuji now, and how terrifying is immortal Yuji at his prime, not just interesting, but absolutely essential. This isn't a small topic, and honestly, this entire discussion exists simply because of a deep admiration for Yuji as a character. Before anything else, we need to understand Yuji as a person, because his very existence is the foundation of his power. It has been officially confirmed that Yuji's grandfather was the reincarnation of Sukuna's twin, not his father as many once believed due to a major editorial mistake in the manga, a point later clarified by Gij in the extras of Volume 29. Because the soul is passed down through lineage, fragments of Sukuna's soul naturally flowed into Yuji. This is what made him the perfect vessel, and it's the reason Kinjaku meticulously engineered Yuji's birth. On top of that, Yuji was sealed with one of Sukuna's fingers from the moment he was born. This caused massive confusion for a long time due to extremely poor official translations. But the truth is simple. The combination of Sukuna's soul fragment plus the sealed finger shaped Yuji into an ideal vessel from day one. When Sukuna transferred into Megumi, that final finger went with him. So although Yuji no longer contains a finger, his body still retains Sukuna's cursed energy imprint and a permanently altered biological structure. That is why, even before learning cursed energy, Yuji already possessed physical strength on the level of a Grade 1 sorcerer, comparable to early story Maki. This becomes painfully clear in his fight with Higuruma, where Yuji battles purely with raw physical power, no cursed energy, yet survives both a domain and a high-grade cursed tool from an elite sorcerer. Yuji is not just strong, he is a born martial prodigy. He performs high-level combat techniques purely through instinct, without formal training. Gij himself confirmed that Yuji executes these movements reflexively, proving that he is an extremely rare talent in close-quarters combat. And while he may appear innocent or simple in daily life, inside battle Yuji possesses terrifyingly high battle IQ, very similar to classic shounen protagonists like Goku, Luffy, or Natsu. Simple on the surface, absolutely lethal in combat. After the Shibuya incident, Choso openly stated that Yuji had transformed into something demonic. Faster, stronger, and far more refined in technique. The peak of this evolution came during the 2-month training period before the Shinjuku Showdown, where Yuji mastered simple domain, learned advanced domain techniques, perfected reverse curse technique, boosted reinforcement to special grade levels, achieved absurd speed and output. When facing Sukuna, even though Sukuna still stood above him, Yuji continued to close the gap, especially after repeatedly triggering Black Flash, which even Sukuna admitted caused Yuji's growth to skyrocket in the middle of battle. Everything changed after Yuji consumed the death painting wombs. According to Choso, Yuji's body is no longer that of a normal human. It has become a cursed organism, granting him blood manipulation, the ability to convert cursed energy directly into blood, extreme regeneration, a reverse curse technique so efficient it costs far less energy than any other sorcerer. Most terrifying of all, Yuji can heal damage to the soul itself, something nearly impossible for ordinary sorcerers. This is only possible because Yuji possesses deep awareness of the soul's structure after serving as Sukuna's vessel. The most decisive element of Yuji's power is this. Yuji can directly attack the boundary between Sukuna's soul and Megumi's. By doing so, he weakens their bond and drastically lowers Sukuna's overall output. Without this ability, defeating Sukuna would have been virtually impossible. Now consider this. Prime Yuji, after 68 years of training, operates on a level that completely surpasses Mahoraga. He is constantly compared to Dabura, a figure repeatedly described as a threat equal to true form Sukuna himself. Dabura is not just powerful. He is portrayed as a living catastrophe. Modern Grade 1 sorcerers, the strongest of their generation, are rendered immobile simply by his presence. Even Usami's cursed speech had absolutely no effect. In fact, Dabura merely walking past Usami caused him to fall into critical unconsciousness. If Sukuna represents the upper limit of the current power scale, then Prime Yuji stands on that same tier, not approaching it, but fully occupying it as an era-ending force of destruction. The true horror of Dabura becomes undeniable once his battle with Mahoraga is shown. Every previous statement about him being on par with Sukuna suddenly makes perfect sense. Dabura operates at an Honored One level of existence. The devastation he creates fully validates every warning spoken about him beforehand. What's even more telling is that the sorcerers knew exactly how dangerous Dabura was from the start. They could feel his presence and repeatedly said, "It's fine. Yuji can handle him." Yuji is the counterbalance. We need to prove we have our own Dabura. Even knowing that Yuki possessed 10 Shadows and Mahoraga, they still placed their greatest bet on Yuji. One Grade 1 sorcerer who had previously stated, "If you ever encounter Dabura, run or just kill yourself," also described him as a living disaster, the same term Yurom uses for Sukuna. That sorcerer had personally witnessed Sukuna's aura, and when he later felt Dabura's presence, he concluded that Mahoraga was merely a last resort, while Yuji represented the true chance at victory. In the eyes of the Jujutsu elite, Mahoraga equals desperation. Yuji equals the real weapon. Some people still struggle to believe Yuji can stand on that stage. But remember what Gojo once explained. 80% of a sorcerer's potential is determined by their cursed technique. The irony is that before Yuji even had a technique, he was already one of the strongest Grade 1 fighters, surpassing fully trained prodigies with only 20% of his raw potential. So when Yuji finally obtained a technique, the jump in his ceiling became almost absurd. Blood manipulation, a top-tier technique. Blood manipulation alone ranks among the 5 strongest techniques in Jujutsu history. That is an opinion, it's canon. It is explicitly stated to stand alongside 10 Shadows and 6 Eyes plus Limitless. In ancient times, there existed 3 legendary vengeful curse spirits, each wielding one of those techniques. The Six Eyes user of that era was confirmed to rival even Gojo. Here's the key difference. The ancient blood manipulation user was a cursed spirit, not human, meaning they were not bound by physical blood. They converted cursed energy directly into blood. That is the technique's true potential. And that exact potential is now in Yuji's hands. Yuji is the perfect embodiment of what blood manipulation was always meant to become. After consuming the death paintings, Yuji's body is no longer human, no longer cursed, but something in between. His blood is toxic to both humans and curses. He can generate blood from cursed energy just like Choso, only far more extreme. If Choso, a mere grade 1, could flood an entire hall with blood, imagine Yuji with Sukuna's energy reserves, a special grade body, and 68 years of training. On top of that, his blood carries natural poison. Opponents may die slowly without even realizing that every wound they suffer is already a death sentence. Yuji now commands the full blood manipulation arsenal. Flowing red scale boosts temperature, heart rate, blood cells, strength, and output. Flowing red scale, stack, and even more extreme enhancement. Crimson binding restrains enemies. Slicing exorcism, ranged blood attacks. Convergence condenses blood into energy cores. Piercing blood, high-speed blood projectile. Supernova, explosive blood technique. Blood edge, dagger-shaped weapon. Blood meteorite, hardened micro-projectiles. And this is only what we already know. With 68 years of experimentation, Yuji has undoubtedly developed many variations we haven't even seen yet. What truly breaks the power scale is this. Yuji doesn't just possess blood manipulation. He also wields Shrine, Sukuna's own technique, including Cleave and Dismantle. That gives him 2 top 5 techniques inside one body. This dual potential alone exceeds even Sukuna's early form. And then there's Divine Flame/Furnace, his ultimate ability still not fully explored. Unlike Sukuna, Yuji can activate Divine Flame whenever he wants. Sukuna restricted himself with ancient binding vows that force him to only access it after domain expansion. Those vows massively amplify the flame's power, but also limit its usage. Yuji is bound by no such contract, which means he can coat his body in flame, reinforce his fists, create multiple fire-based attack variations. And because it is his own cursed energy, the flame cannot harm him. Even more fascinating, Yuji's version of Furnace will likely evolve differently from Sukuna's. Sukuna's concept was inspired by Han-era furnaces, while Yuji comes from the modern age. So its form, color, and mechanics may become something entirely new. When fighting Sukuna, Yuji made a binding vow to ensure his technique would only strike the soul. That restriction caused the output to skyrocket. So much so that Sukuna himself felt fear upon being hit. The attack didn't damage Sukuna's body, but it tore apart his soul and the boundary between himself and Megumi. It remains unclear whether that vow was temporary, limited to that single strike, or permanent, like Miwa's oath that forever cost her the ability to swing a sword. If the vow was temporary, then Yuji may still wield Cleave on both physical and spiritual levels. A combination that would be almost impossible to withstand. Just imagine this. A single slash from Yuji, no physical wound at all, yet the target's soul is split in half. Yuji's domain is overflowing with symbolism. From the statue standing behind him, his hand gestures, to environmental elements like birds and the familiar scenery of his hometown. Everything points toward deeper meaning. Many theories interpret his domain as a symbol of enlightenment, protection, and spiritual purification, as if Yuji's territory is not merely a tool for killing, but a mechanism designed to guide an enemy's soul toward a clean and final conclusion. This stands in sharp contrast to Sukuna, who obliterates everything with countless micro-slashes. Yuji, instead, delivers one overwhelming decisive strike, perfectly aligned with his purpose and his nature. In the future, Yuji may even fuse his domain with blood manipulation, transform it into a soul-based execution field, or unlock an open-type domain like Sukuna's, since both his body and mind retain the muscle memory of Sukuna's techniques. And you know, guys, the Black Flash phenomenon? It's no exaggeration to say that Yuji is a Black Flash anomaly. Both Sukuna and Mahito openly acknowledged that Yuji seems capable of triggering Black Flash almost at will. He shattered Jujutsu history, matching the record against Hanami, then surpassing it in his battle with Sukuna, all within just a few months of becoming a sorcerer. Every Black Flash amplifies him, both permanently and in the moment, causing his growth curve to skyrocket during live combat. By the age of 15, Yuji already possessed Domain Expansion, Reverse Curse Technique, Special Grade, Level Reinforcement, the all-time Black Flash record, a Death Painting Body, 2 of the top 5 techniques in history, Advanced Soul Awareness. Now, give him 68 years of training, without aging, while maintaining perfect physical condition and peak form. The result? Not merely a monster, but a walking catastrophe. No wonder the strongest characters place Yuji on the same pedestal as Sukuna and Gojo, and even consider him the most reliable answer when facing a threat like Devura. Bob, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for sticking with the story till the end. If you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.